Hello, everyone. Welcome to our community call 27 with Scale3. My name is Remy. I'm from the EthStaker community, and I'm joined with some of our great crew member from EthStaker as well. We have Nolan coming here. Hello, Nolan. And we also have Anvedika, who might be silent. He's doing a bunch of the background stuff. But today we're here to talk about Scale3, and we are joined by some of their members. We are joined by Jay. Hello, Jay.
Hi, Remy. Hi, EthStaker community. Really excited to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
We're also joined by Ola. Hello, Ola.
Hi, everyone. Excited to be here. Thanks, Remy.
We're joined by Karthik. Hey, Karthik.
Thanks, Remy. Hi, everyone. Hi to the EthStaker community. Excited to be here.
And we're joined by Yemi. Hello, Yemi.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Remy. It's good to see everyone here.
So I'm not sure who's gonna be doing most of the talking, but like you guys can talk however you like. We'll start right into the subject for today's. You guys have a monitoring solution. What is your solution? How does it work? What does it look like? Can any one of you guys tell us about it?
Sure, happy to. If it's helpful, happy to do a quick round of introductions if that's helpful for
Sure.
Keep it short and sweet. And then at the same time, I'll render up some slides so that way you can go into the details. But Ola, do you want to kick it off with a quick introduction?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ola Muse. I am the CEO and co-founder of Scale3. Prior to joining or creating the founding Scale3, I was employee number one at Coinbase with regards to leading a team to manage over 40 protocols for Coinbase with regards to how you manage nodes, how you upgrade them, how you support them. So I led the team and directly responsible for doing that. Before that, I was in infrastructure space the last 20 plus years, running infrastructure for Dell, Microsoft, Adobe, Fastly, different companies in this in the infrastructure, backend, SRE, DevOps space. Really excited to be here. I'll pass it on to Karthik.
Thanks, Ola. Karthik here. Similar to what Ola said, I'm the co-founder and CTO of Scale3 Labs. Prior to Scale3, I was at Coinbase as well, doing node upgrades and network maintenance for over 40 protocols, and was also one of the key members for Coinbase with the ETH merge project. So excited to be here. Looking forward to this chat. Over to you, Yemi.
Hey, everyone. Yemi here. So prior to joining Scale3, I was at Coinbase as well, managing the nodes, ran a whole bunch of network upgrades. So from Bitcoin to Solana, Ethereum, and the ETH merge, the big ETH merge. I was mostly doing a lot of the heavy lifting for that. And prior to Coinbase, I worked in in Microsoft in the SRE space as well, basically managing IoT devices. And I'm super excited to be here today to share what we're building with the community. Back to you, Jay.
Awesome. Thanks all. Hi, everyone. My name is Jay Thakrar. I focus on product and strategy here at Scale3. Prior to Scale3, I was at Coinbase on the crypto product team, and also as part of the BizOps strategy team for all ecosystem crypto products. Prior to Coinbase, I was at Consensus for about 3 years, helped launch Consensus Ventures, and co-founded a project called Token Foundry, which is now known as Codify. Prior to that, I was at a fintech company called Seed Invest, early employee, which got acquired by Circle. So I've sort of done the tour across Web3 for the better part, but really excited to share a little more about what we're building here at Scale3. And so again, thank you for the opportunity. Really excited to walk you through a little bit about what we're building and why it's beneficial for the ETH community, and also show you the meat and potatoes. So we'll also do a little demo for you guys as well. At a high level, our mission is to improve the quality, observability, and security of blockchain nodes and networks globally. The best way to think about Scale3 is that we're a Web3 infrastructure company. We're building core developer tools. Today, we've built a Web3 platform for monitoring and maintaining our blockchain nodes and networks. So fundamentally, as we think about Scale3, we're chain agnostic or network agnostic. Today, we support up to 8 different networks, but we're really excited to show you what we've built for the Ethereum community in terms of monitoring and maintaining your nodes and validators. In terms of our team, again, you met a core group of folks of our team members. The best way to think about our team is we're a group of builders. We have deep experience across infrastructure and blockchain, really leaning into crypto infrastructure, have done this across, again, companies in the Web3 space as well as Web2 space. And so as we think about some of our learnings and the problems that we're trying to solve, there are three problems that we're really excited about solving based on our experience at Coinbase. At a high level, operating and managing your nodes is fundamentally broken and also very expensive. Some of the key challenges that we've learned during our time at Coinbase was, number one, monitoring is highly complex. The reason why it's highly complex, Remy, as you know very well, is that every blockchain is idiosyncratic in nature. What does that mean? It requires custom instrumentation to be able to actually capture the type of metrics that you want to monitor. And without good monitoring, you fundamentally do not have accurate alerting. Secondly, a big theme that we realize is that these are open source networks and they evolve. So that was a big challenge, especially when we're at Coinbase. And the updates of these releases called, these releases which are called updates effectively are highly inconsistent in nature in terms of two ways. One, they're highly sporadic in nature. And then secondly, in terms of timing of when they happen. And secondly, the scope or the complexity of each of these upgrades really vary. What I mean by that is sometimes it can be a simple smart contract update or change, or it can be a fundamental protocol change in terms of its consensus mechanism. So for example, if we look at the ETH merge from proof of work to proof of stake, far more complex. We were on the other side of the table at Coinbase, working super closely with Tim Bike on the ETH Foundation on all the updates related to it. And that was a big challenge for us. And then when you do that across different networks, across many nodes and validators, it becomes even more complex in terms of building out the monitoring and managing your nodes at the same time. The last big challenge that we learned was high level, the troubleshooting side of the equation is pretty challenging. The moment a node goes down, the first question anyone asks is it the node or is it the network? And then the first thing you end up doing is you jump through Discord, Twitter, GitHub, trying to figure out exactly what went wrong, for example, and then hopefully find a way to troubleshoot and effectively not have to get slashed if you're running a validator, or have to resync your node to the Genesis block, which, as we all know very well, takes a significant amount of time. And so that's the last thing I think any of us would like. So what we've learned at a high level is that the TLDR is high level is that improper management of your nodes will result in reliability and security issues. Now, as we think about existing solutions today, I'd say that there are two common answers that we've seen and experienced. Number one is people are using Web2 solutions, and these Web2 solutions are not purpose-built for Web3. In fact, at Coinbase, we use and paid meaningful 7 to 8 figures in terms of using a Web2 solution that's really common in the Web2 space for monitoring, and that was fundamentally not purpose-built for what we're accomplishing across all the protocols we're supporting. So it required a lot of customer instrumentation, number one. Two, it didn't solve the aspect of being able to streamline your node operations, which is what we're building and solving for. And secondly, it requires significant human capital investment to basically complement and round out that experience and solve those problems. The second alternative that we've seen is a lot of homegrown tools. So they're using open source technologies like Prometheus and Grafana. We actually like that approach, but what we've realized at a high level is that it is operationally very expensive to be able to do this at scale. Number one, and number two is that it only solves one piece of the puzzle. So again, building out the monitoring capabilities is one component, but the maintenance side of the equation isn't solved for necessarily. And so what we've realized is that there's a big opportunity to build and productize the experience of being able to streamline your node operations. And that's exactly what we're doing today with our platform, Scale3. And so in terms of our solutions, today we have two core products. Our first product is called Autopilot. Our second product is called Control Center. And I'll walk you through high level what these products do. But at the same time, I definitely want to steal the thunder from Karthik in terms of our product demos. So in terms of Autopilot today, you can effectively link your node and capture a one-to-one view of monitoring your node. On top of that, we built in the alerting capabilities and functionalities to be able to define parameters and set up alerts as making sure that your node is operating and performant, and we can set the right type of reliability measures. On top of that, we've also aggregated ecosystem intelligence. So for example, to have a clear understanding as to what's happening in the community, any updates that are coming up, or any actions that are required for anyone that's running a validator and or node on your ecosystem. On top of that, the core premise of what we've also are building and solving for is streamlining the overall process for upgrading your nodes. And so today, being able to understand when a node upgrade is happening, number one, number two, when it's happening, Number three, the complexity of the upgrade. Is it mandatory, optional? And fourthly, thinking about the impact to your systems isn't actually necessarily easy to understand. And so we've A, productized that experience, and B, simplified it for anyone that's running a validator node today. We've also aggregated, we found a way to automate the key questions that are in Discord. So having spent 7 years working in crypto full-time, I today still find jumping into Discord's anxiety inducing. There's a lot of information. It's hard to distill the signal over noise, figure out what is a necessary need to know type of information. And so we found an automated way to basically roll up the top 10 to 15 questions being asked. And we built that directly into our platform. So that way, those that are running validators nodes have one single source of truth as to key questions and answers that they need in terms of all things related to node management. We've also are building up the current capabilities to basically capture granular statistics and data as to exactly what the performance of your nodes look like through logs. And so that's another option for anyone that's running validators or nodes today. And again, we can do this across multiple protocols, but really excited to show you what we can do for the Ethereum community today. Our second product is called Control Center. It does all the above. But in addition to that, there's two also key components. Number one is not a one-to-one view. Control Center shows a one-to-many view. So you can effectively see how all your nodes are doing. So for example, the Ethereum Foundation could find this extremely beneficial to see exactly how all the Ethereum validators are, how are they doing? What kind of hardware configs are they running on if they're capturing host level metrics, and be able to provide more accurate information to the Ethereum community as to what they need to be able to spin up a validator today, for example. But more importantly, another problem that we're trying to solve for based on our experience is thinking about the communication and coordination required to build out a decentralized distributed computing platform. What I mean by that is during the Ethereum merge, for example, there's about 14 to 16% of the nodes that were ineligible to basically convert from proof of work to proof of stake because they were on the wrong version. And so as we think about why that happened and what the root cause of that specifically is, fundamentally, in my opinion, it's a coordination communication problem. And so what we want to solve for is basically building in platform broadcast messaging from a L1 network to all the different sort of node operators to communicate what's necessary for them to do to be able to make sure that their nodes and validators are up and running in a reliable, secure, and performant way. And so as we think about our overall ecosystem and who we serve, the TLDR is that we're building Scale3 in a way which can serve everyone in the Web3 ecosystem. So for example, we look at the Ethereum community, folks at the foundation can use our products today to have a clear sense and picture as to how their nodes are running internally, but also be able to see how the overall ecosystem is performing. On top of that, node hosting providers that basically support Ethereum validators and nodes today can effectively see exactly how the nodes that they're running are doing, but also the conversations that we're having with node hosting providers are really excited about white labeling our products to be able to provide end users visibility as to the overall monitoring side and also streamlining the maintenance side. But what we're really excited about also serving in terms of segment are any individual node operators or stakers today. So thinking about the way we built our product, it is purpose built for solo stakers and home stakers today in the Ethereum ecosystem. You can simply go onto our website, request early access, we get you set up. And so it's super simple to be able to do so. So the way we built it is an enterprise grade platform that's really designed for everyone in terms of the Ethereum ecosystem to be able to use today. And so as we quickly recap, what we did and why it matters and what are the benefits, one thing that we realized is that even during our time at Coinbase, we were highly reactive to the overall updates in terms of maintaining and monitoring your nodes and validators. And fundamentally, what we're trying to do is provide you the picks and shovels, the tooling you need to be more proactive in terms of monitoring and maintaining your nodes. Secondly, we're trying to streamline the communications across, again, everyone in the ecosystem, so node operators as well as L1 networks. And then for node operators, we're trying to streamline the process for upgrading your nodes, which we firsthand have realized can be highly complex and also scary for those that are operating nodes for the first time. And then for L1 networks, we want to provide them the data, the intelligence to basically shorten the feedback loop of their overall network design. So we're really excited to build Scale3 for everyone in the Ethereum ecosystem. So quick couple asks to the Ethereum ecosystem. Feel free to, again, using the QR code on the right, feel free to go to our website, request early access to our platform. We love to prioritize and get you guys up and running. You can also join our community on Discord. Again, use a QR code to get access to it. We'd love to have you ask any questions there as well as you use the product, and also provide any product feedback. And then those that are running on behalf of enterprises, feel free to email us as well. We'd love to chat with you. At this time, I'll pass it off to Karthik to actually show you some of the details and the behind the scenes and exactly how our product works.
Before we do the demo, I'd like to ask a few questions in regards with your feature sets and the slide that you just showed.
Sure.
I just want to say first that I've been trying your product, and it was very nice, very interesting to see what you guys came up with. I was very impressed with some of these features. But first, I want to ask about the one-click node upgrades feature that you just showed. Does that work across like different setups? Because we know like people are using like a wide variety of configuration and setup. Like how exactly does that work?
Yeah, sure. Great question. Karthik or Yemi, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I can take that on. Thanks for asking that question, Remy. That's a good question. So essentially, what we are trying to do here is like, in the case of Ethereum, we are aware that there is like execution client and there is consensus client, and there's like different set of combinations you can play with when you're setting up a full node or a validator node. So as of today, the way it works is like we either pre-build the binaries and provide like a MD5 hash of the pre-built binary. That ways you can verify that we have not tampered with the software in any form or fashion. For those clients where pre-built binaries or Docker images are not available, for the ones that are already available, we directly provide direct links to it, because like sometimes it's pretty hard to figure out where to like download the latest release, what are the steps to follow to in order to like upgrade your node. Our end goal is to provide support for all the top combinations of clients that are recommended by the ETH Foundation, and generally seeing the trends across the community. Today, the way it works is like as a node operator, we have also built like a Scale3 command line interface where if you're running your validator or a full node on a host which doesn't have access to a browser, you can just install our Scale3 CLI, list all the updates that are available for the client that your host is your validator is running on, and directly download the binaries or Docker images to your host. And we provide like a set of instructions to follow, which are like kind of consistent and predictable. So that way, as a node operator, you have like a consistent experience. Our goal is to automate all of these things, so it's like light touch when it comes to node updates. But we don't want to like start with an opinionated approach here. We just want to see how people are reacting to by starting off with like a bunch of instructions, and based on taking feedback from our early set of users, we plan to like automate it.
Like if someone would have used like Summer ESAT's guide to set up his own machine, would your one-click node upgrade works with his kind of setup? Like he's using systemd and like he's installing binaries in different places.
Yeah, so that's a good question. It may not work today because like we just go with whatever is like the recommended approach that's available on the official docs. But then again, like we kind of realize that every setup is like very different from one another. It's pretty hard to automate this process. We are just like trying to optimize for the ones that gives us like maximum coverage. That ways we are able to cover like a wide surface area. If it really makes sense to customize some of the setups based on what we see in the community, we would go ahead. But currently we are just like learning. As you mentioned, these are all the use cases that we want to solve for.
Awesome. I had another question regarding alerting. I saw one of the features was alerting with like upcoming new releases. Do you have any like manual human input into this feature? Like let's say there's a new update coming up that is either like required or optional, or like it's only some kind of minimal optimization. Like would you tell your users like this is required, you have to do it, so make sure you're prepared for it, and these are the different steps that are required to get prepared?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Currently we kind of like source all this information a couple of ways. One is we have like an automated system that tracks across multiple channels where most of this information are flowing through currently, like for instance the Discord channels, Twitter, Telegram, etc. And we kind of like run all that information through a data pipeline where we kind of like categorize this information into whether it's like it's an information that needs action to be taken from the node operator, or whether it's like a general announcement, or if it's like a software upgrade. And then like we surface all that information over to our platform. In addition to that, we also have capability to just like, if there is an information that's not captured across these channels, we can manually input that information as well. And if like a data source provider is interested in plugging into our system and providing that input as well, we can provide that functionality as well. So if anybody is interested, if anyone thinks they have good handle on sending high signal information that will be beneficial for node operators community, then we can definitely provide webhooks or anything like that.
Great. Thanks for this answer. I guess we can go to the product demo now.
Thank you, Remy, and thank you, Jay. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Awesome. Can you all see my screen?
We can see it, yeah.
Okay. So we are looking at the onboarding process for setting up monitoring for a validator node. As you can see, and like Jay mentioned previously, we have support for these protocols at the moment. In the case of Ethereum, we have support for monitoring Ethereum validator or a full node, as well as monitoring like smart contracts. For the purposes of this demonstration, we are going to set up a monitoring dashboard for ETH validator. So let's go ahead and select Ethereum. There are a couple of ways to onboard a node. One is by linking your IP address, which requires you to expose your port and IP address. And the second way is by installing a Grafana agent, which is like super secure, primarily because one, we use open source tools in this case, which includes Grafana agent and node exporters. And also like, because of this setup, we are able to surface host level metrics like CPU, memory, and disk space. And number two, you don't need to expose your ports. Thank you, Remy, for providing this early feedback to us. When we demoed it to you initially, you had to like expose your ports, etc. Again, for the purposes of this demonstration, we are going to set up a monitoring for a ETH validator by installing the agent. So let's go ahead and select that. So once we select the installation of agent, you see a screen where you're required to follow a set of instructions. At this stage, open a terminal shell on your validator and follow the steps laid out on the screen. So we have ETH validator that's running on the Goerli testnet. So as you can see, this is like a typical Grafana setup. So let's get started here. So the first step is to download the Scale3 CLI. So once it's downloaded, the next step would be to make the install script executable. At this stage, you should have three files. One is the install script, the other one is the Scale3 CLI, and third one is the uninstall script. The third one is copying the CLI config file, which is nothing but a Grafana YAML file. If you have set up a Grafana dashboard for monitoring your validators, you must be familiar with this process already. So let's go ahead and do that. So at this stage, you should have the Grafana agent.yaml file as well. Now let's go ahead and install the Scale3 CLI so it's able to start shipping metrics to our cloud. So it's doing its thing. So at this stage, it's asking if the Grafana config file looks good. Let's go ahead and select one. So it's attempting to start shipping metrics. Give it a couple of minutes. Should be up.
So I'm guessing you have to install Prometheus and Node Exporter first before attempting to do this, right?
That's right. So we kind of like packaged up Node Exporter and Prometheus nicely with a Scale3 CLI. That way, as a user, it's like light touch. Even if you have not gone through that process before, you just need to follow a bunch of steps. So as you can see, it says successfully started shipping metrics to Scale3 labs. And the Scale3 logo indicates the validator is successfully installed and shipping metrics to our cloud. So At this stage, normally it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for the monitoring dashboard to come up. So while this is happening, we can go check out the other parts of the application. So let's click do it later. So on the left panel, again, you see a bunch of nodes, the third one being the latest node that we just added, and contracts and a bunch of different features, which we are going to go through right now.
Before going on, I just want to say how I like how much streamlined this is all. Like with the agent and the push mechanic, this is much better than when I tried it. But just keep going.
Obviously, learning from all the feedback that we are getting from the early set of customers. And thank you again for your feedback there. We kind of learned a lot, and we kind of like quickly took that feedback and started building. So you are now looking at the network feed feature, where we surface all the important events happening in the ETH community related to node or network in real time. Here we optimize more for signal over noise. This way, as a node operator, you don't need to stay on top of these events by watching a bunch of different channels on Discord, Twitter, Telegram, etc. Again, this was a problem that we personally faced while at Coinbase managing nodes across different protocols. We have like a bunch of filters. Like I mentioned previously, we have like announcements. So you can see all the latest announcements. You can select by needs action. For instance, in this case, it says you must update your node before a particular time, or like Nimbus has released like a latest version. And
Do you have a filter for clients or networks?
We don't at the moment. We are planning to add that as well. So
that'd be great. Yeah.
It's like kind of built for all the protocols, but ETH has this special requirement where we are running 2 clients, so we are planning to add that filter as well. So that's the network feed. Moving on to node updates feature. For context, as you all know or probably experience, keeping your validators or full nodes up to date with latest software is a challenge in itself. This is especially critical when we are leading up to a major network upgrade, where it becomes like time sensitive, and also like failing to update nodes can lead to either the node stopping from syncing with the network or following the wrong fork. Today, node operators update their nodes by following a set of instructions provided to them by the software maintainer. And depending on the software client, there may or may not be pre-built binaries or Docker images and clearly laid out release notes. And release notes are very important in order to vet breaking changes, especially when you have downstream services that are integrated with your full nodes or validators, as in the case of like node service providers or like exchanges, etc. With all this in mind, we decided to build this feature. We kind of realized it's a very hard feature to nail. So we are like starting a little slow and not being too opinionated about how we want to build this feature. But with the primary goal of making the lives of node operators easy with respect to updating and maintaining their nodes. As of today, we surface all the latest software releases across different clients on Ethereum. Again, like adding a filter here would be like amazing. So that's definitely coming up. Additionally, we also provide a direct link to pre-built binaries in clients where it's already available. ETH is really super nice because most of the clients provide direct access to pre-built binaries. So it kind of like aggregates all that information and provides like links to it. In addition to that, we also provide, in some cases where the clients don't have pre-built binaries, we have set up like a CI/CD pipeline where we pre-build these binaries, provide like a MD5 hash. That ways you can verify if verify that we have not tampered with the software in any form or fashion. So that's the node updates feature. Moving on to the next one, which is frequently asked questions. Here we kind of maintain a running list of frequently asked questions by node runners and validators across different channels. I'm sure many of us have jumped into Discord whenever we have had questions specific to running and operating validator nodes, or even like in some cases answered a bunch of questions helping node operators out. And we have had this kind of like love-hate relationship with Discord, right? Like so in order to primarily solve this problem, we have built like an automated way to kind of like aggregate the top questions asked in Discord. And because it's like an automated system, it's a dynamic list that keeps like changing as pressing questions arise in different channels. So as you can see, as of today, it has like some of these questions, which includes like, hey, what version of Get am I running? Or like my get node doesn't seem to be syncing. How can I check? Things like that, right? So That's that. And finally, we also have like a social feed where we just embed currently the list of Twitter accounts that show high signal over noise when it comes to running and operating nodes on the ETH protocol. We kind of like, our goal is to aggregate all the key sound bites from different thought leaders in the ETH ecosystem, and also like provide like direct links to Twitter, Discord, GitHub, etc. So let's now jump back to our monitoring dashboard to see if it's ready. Okay, awesome. It's now ready. If you click on the settings, you see that there is a green check mark and it says receiving metrics from the node successfully. Let's go back to our Grafana-based dashboard. So it's just like an embed of Grafana dashboard. We are not trying to, again, reinvent the wheel by building our own dashboards or anything like that. So we have provided a preset list of dashboards over here. So we can go ahead and select the get dashboard, for instance. So it kind of surfaces like CPU, memory, peers, chain head, things, a bunch of different things that are relevant for monitoring your get client. And also we have the Lighthouse metrics. For instance, you can select the Lighthouse summary. Again, like it has like a bunch of different metrics. Additionally, we are also like I mentioned, because we have provided a bunch of different dashboards, and because it's like open source, Grafana is open source, we are also making all of our dashboards open source on the Grafana marketplace. So anyone interested in setting their own Prometheus and Grafana instance, they can feel free to do so. And we are also like kind of happy to integrate and publish any other project Grafana dashboards along with this default set if there is interest. And lastly, the ask to the ETH community is that we are looking for beta testers of this product. And if you have an ETH validator or full node and you are interested in trying our product out, reach out to us on either Discord, or you can request early access from our web app. We are happy to set up an account for your validator nodes. And I can also show you the contract monitoring that we have built. So it doesn't have a whole lot of metrics instrumented at the moment. Currently, it's just like monitoring for any transactions that were made on the contract, average gas used, percentage transaction status. If you want to add like a new contract, it's like super simple. Just give it a name and give it like the contract address. And again, like it's the same process. And if you don't want to install the Grafana agent and go through that process, and if you're comfortable setting up the node with the IP address and exposing it, it's again like pretty straightforward. You just need to provide the execution node and consensus node IP address and submit it. And again, it's the same process, except that in this case, we will not be able to surface host level metrics because obviously there's only so much you can pull from the RPC endpoints. I'll pause here. If you all have any questions,
I do have one. I'm not looking at a YouTube chat. Maybe I should for any additional questions. But what happens with the agent if if it fails to push the metrics away? Do you get like an alert that tells you if there's anything wrong there?
Yeah. So if the agent is unable to push any metrics, you can know it in two different ways. One is the Scale3 CLI that you saw here. It will tell you that the agent was not able to ship metrics. We are also working towards a bunch of solutions. That way, the user is able to like automatically debug the issue and figure out what the issue is. That's why like learning from early set of customers is like super important for us. At the same time, on the dashboard, you will see that this thing is still spinning and it will say that your agent is not correctly installed. So that ways you will have that feedback to close that feedback loop and help the user out in this stage. That's what we are currently optimizing for.
Great.
And one last thing, folks can still always reach out to us on Discord if they have installation problems and all that. Any feedback they experience from the installation problem, they can reach out to us there as well.
So my next question would be like what's the main differentiating feature that your solution provides that you don't get to see elsewhere? Like we can see some of these dashboard if you were to install your own Grafana Prometheus instance. But I'm guessing like the main other features would be like the contract, um, monitoring, or like somebody release feeds, the node updates, the flag, the social. I guess
Yeah.
those would be the main features.
Yeah, so essentially, I'll just provide my view here. Jay, feel free to chime in after this. So essentially, what we have kind of realized is like people who are generally savvy with respect to setting their own monitoring dashboards up, they're going to do it either ways. But one of the things that we want to empower the community with is like provide like a unified platform where if you are interested in setting up like a ETH validator or like run a ETH full node, if you're building like a Web3 application, you don't want to go to a node service provider or anything like that. As a Web3 developer or as a node operator or as just like a general enthusiast, you need to have like a platform that lets you do it in a seamless fashion, and that kind of like lowers the friction that is needed to like run and set up and run your own node or validator, right? So that's primarily what we are trying to solve for, and that's why like we felt like having a monitoring dashboard is great if you can set it up yourself, but also like in order to keep your node up to date and have it running at all times, you need all these other things, which includes like looking through all the channels to know what's happening in the community with respect to nodes and validators, or even like updating your nodes. If you have any questions, where do I ask those questions and things like that, right? So that's what we are primarily trying to solve for.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you, Karthik. Remy, obviously you're an expert in this space. Some folks moonlight in doing staking work or even crypto work, right? And other people have a day job, right? And the journey of making this happen takes 4 or 5 hours, sometimes up to 12 hours, right? And even at Coinbase as a big behemoth while we were there, imagine managing 40 plus protocols and try to do this where sometimes the upgrade cannot be rolled back. You have to roll forward and execute, right? And fix it. And if it doesn't work, you're pausing transactions, you're not making money. And that goes for the EthStakers as well. So we want to be that sidecar where you don't have to think about those things, right? You have a trusted platform that sits right beside you, right? You can monitor what's going on. You can still have your day job, moonlight and staking if that's what you want to do, and have a central point where if something happens, you go here. You have a trusted platform to see what's going on, what the issue is, a trusted binary you can download. So that's our thinking here, right? To where we make it simple for you to be able to engage in the crypto space, but in the infrastructure space, which is the critical part of any blockchain work, right? To where you can begin to just have something that can help solve your problem in a matter of minutes versus hours, right? So that's our goal here.
I agree. That's a good point there. EthStaker is often like trying to cater to home stakers and like solo validators. Do you guys think this could be a good solutions for like just someone at home staking on its own, and why do you think this could be a good solution for them?
Yeah, happy to chime in here. The way we built this platform, funny enough, during our early days, again, we're only 4 to 5 months old, so we've been moving very, very quickly, but at the same time, also really leaning into a lot of our customer feedback. One of the product assumptions that we made was actually building it for the individual folks that were actually running nodes or validators, meaning Karthik, Ola, or Yemi, who are doing this on behalf of Coinbase by themselves. We're making certain assumptions as to some of the challenges that they firsthand experienced when they were running nodes. And so this is purpose built for the long tail of the ecosystem is what we call it. And fundamentally, the way I think about it is that the long tail is the foundation for the ecosystem, right? Meaning all the individual node operators today. So that's a way that we purpose built this platform, number one. Number two is it's not just about the folks who are running nodes today, Remy. I think you and I are probably aligned that today, Ethereum, you guys have the lion's share of developer mind share and nodes, but fundamentally, if we're all in this Web3 world today and share the same vision of growing the Web3 ecosystem, fundamentally, what we want to do is build the platform, the technologies, the picks and shovels to have any developer from Web2 come into Web3, be able to spin up a validator, understand how to operate that validator reliably, securely, and be able to scale up accordingly as they wish, right? So we're trying to eliminate or abstract the complexities for the average say, technology enthusiast or curious builder in the ecosystem to say, hey, I want to jump in 2 feet and run some validators today. How do I do it? Meaning, how do I provision the node? And then how do I make sure that I keep the lights on and I don't get slashed?
Good point. I really like your solution. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. One other thing that I would like to add here is like monitoring is just scratching the surface, right? Like if you look at, I mean, like we have spent like hours together on Discord because like either our node is down or we have had issues or we are trying to help someone else out, right? So one of the things that we keep seeing is that, hey, I'm looking at this logs on my node and I'm seeing these log messages. What do these mean? Is my node set up correctly or not, right? So one of the things that we want to build and we are currently building right now is also the ability to directly stream logs from your node, again through Grafana agent and whatnot, to our platform. That way, is as a user, you don't have to like live tail your logs and go through that dance to like actually figure out like what's going on. And you can clearly set up filters on your dashboard on our Scale3 autopilot platform to see the live tail logs of your system. And today we have like so many different services available for Web2 solutions to stream logs, but you can use the same solutions to stream logs from your node, from your blockchain node, but then like you need to like, it's a generic solution end of the day, and it's not like purpose built for ETH or any other protocol, right? So we are kind of like building that solution as well. So and our goal is to provide that ability for solo stakers, individual node operators, as well as any enterprises that are running their own nodes to stream logs and figure out what's going on with their nodes at any point in time if they want to, right? So that's another thing that we are thinking about as well, which we feel is going to be like super helpful and important for operationalizing the running of your staking nodes or full nodes.
Great. Have you approached any large node operator or any kind of enterprise node operators? And if so, have you tried to onboard them into your product? And like, did they give you any feedback? What was the situation there?
Yes, happy to take that one. So we've had a handful of conversations with both L1 networks as well as node hosting providers. A lot of them have been really exciting conversations. So funny enough, we've actually signed an L1 network that's agreed to use our platform for the next 3 years. In fact, they actually want to invest in their ecosystem. And so what I mean by that is they basically are paying us to give away Autopilot, our core product, to the first 1,500 node operators in the ecosystem. So we're really excited, and we're having similar conversations with different L1 networks in the same exact capacity. So we're very excited to bring our products to the Ethereum ecosystem, really empower every single validator, node operator to be able to do this in a more seamless fashion. And so we're really excited on that side of the equation. B, we're talking to a bunch of node hosting providers. And again, a lot of these folks realize that provisioning nodes is pretty challenging, and making sure that they can do it at scale, meaning optimized for performance, is one thing, but figuring out the monitoring side of the equation is a separate challenge in itself, right? And so fundamentally, it requires a really good understanding of best practices, right? And that's where Ola and Karthik, I think, come in, and they have decades of experience doing this in Web 2, but also understanding how it's been done in Web 3 and the edge cases or nuances associated with Web 3, meaning open source networks, they evolve. Again, you're working with the overall community. So we're taking a community first approach and really leaning into their feedback and building for them accordingly. But the node hosting providers are really excited about this as well. So we're having a handful of conversations with them in terms of making sure that, again, we're building this product, not just for the individual node operators and home stakers or solo stakers, but also making it enterprise grade in terms of its security as well as its performance, such that node hosting providers can actually use our product today. So a lot of active conversations. We expect this year to be a busy year for us in terms of the building side of the equation. But again, the last 4 months was coming up with an idea, building an MVP, getting in front of some early advocates and power users to basically give us good feedback. Again, Remy, thank you so much for some feedback. Again, the agent model, for example, was based on your feedback specifically. And so again, this feedback that we're capturing is really important because at the end of the day, that's exactly what some of these enterprises may be looking for in terms of ensuring that we can support multiple different sort of infrastructure setups, or that we can do more than just monitoring, alerting, logging, for example. And so again, big ask to the community is please join our Discord, give us product feedback, ask us the hard questions, because we're all ears and we're in learning mode right now.
I'm glad to see how you guys have been growing in the past few weeks and a few months. You guys have been growing quite fast, and you guys have been adapting very quickly to everything that's happening around here. That's very great to see. I believe that's all the questions that I had. I don't know if we have any other questions from YouTube. I don't see YouTube chat right now, unfortunately, but I guess that's gonna be it. I believe Anvetica might have a special POAP for our viewers. Anvetica, are you here? Awesome. Make sure to go and get your POAP for this call. I'd like to thank the EthStaker crew who joined today. Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, Anvetica. Thank you, Nix, who was in the background. Also, thanks to the Scale3 team for showing us their product, answering all of our questions, telling us about their great product. Make sure you guys go and check out their solution. Try out their product, see how you like it, and give them some feedback. See how it goes.
Great. Thank you, Remy. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you, EthStaker community. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye.